My name's Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a special flip through video for you. This is my traveler's notebook that I took to Italy with me when my husband and I took a vacation celebrating our 10th anniversary. And while we were on the trip, I kept this traveler's notebook and another one right behind it. This one is all about the food in Italy, which was amazing, and that notebook is not quite done yet. This one is about our travels. I collected receipts and pamphlets and tickets and bus stubs and all kinds of things that I included in here. Had a great time while I documented on the road, and then finished up the last few pages as I came back. I'm going to try to make two videos. One will be me talking through this traveler's notebook, and then the other one will be just music. If you just want to see it and not hear my voice, I totally understand. So if this is not the video you are looking for, just go to my YouTube channel and find whichever version interests you the most. I hope you enjoy the flip through, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, let's get going. I did the cover before we left. I'm using a lot of pieces from the Maggie Holmes Gather collection. I had a 6x6 notepad that I picked up at Tuesday morning, and several of her ephemera collections, crepe paper, I believe, and perhaps Gather, along with one Heidi Swap collection that I thought really worked well. I loved the colors. I didn't worry about an out-and-out travel theme. I just went with things that I thought were beautiful. I also brought this sticker book with me. As you can see, I used a lot of the stickers in it and used it throughout my travels, and also traveled with these right here. These are erasable gel pens that my husband got me for Christmas. They're Pilot Friction Ball 0.7 gel pens, and they were wonderful to travel with. I collected a variety of tickets and receipts and pamphlets and all kinds of things that I used, postcards throughout the traveler's notebook to document, and here we go. First page has some different postcards. The favorite picture that my husband and I took watching a sunset in Florence. This is describing, these are our boarding passes used as ephemera pieces for our flight from Philadelphia to Rome. And this is our first train ticket. When you arrive at the Rome airport, you have to take a train from the airport into the center of Rome. It was a very slow train, a little bit frustrating after traveling all day, but I kept the ticket, added it in as a tip in. Again, here's another ticket. This is a bus ticket. Covers up this picture. My husband and I, once we got there, we decided we wanted to be out in the air and we wanted to try to beat jet lag. So we walked all the way around Rome, visited a lot of the sites like the Pantheon right here. This was a large church that was right near our Airbnb. And you can see the ephemera pieces that I put throughout don't necessarily have to do with the picture that they're with. I just liked them. They were happy, they were colorful, they brought me joy, and I went with it. Here's our trip to the Vatican. I used again the ticket as a tip-in to cover up the picture of my husband and I. We did a small private tour of the Vatican, and it was amazing. I took a few pictures of the artwork, but truthfully the pictures would never be able to really tell you the impact of the story. So I used a lot of words to try to describe the feelings and emotions that the art brought out. The Sistine Chapel was my favorite thing we saw the whole time. It was absolutely gorgeous. You are not allowed to take pictures in there. So I bought these postcards to commemorate that, and I used them to allow a lot of room for journaling. And I thought, on a once-in-a-lifetime trip, the pictures do tell 1,000 words, but sometimes the words are needed too, to kind of capture the feelings that you were having at the time. This is about St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world, which we also saw on the day we visited the Vatican because that's where it's located. And this is Paper Nest. This is their business card. It is a small paper crafting store in Rome that my husband and I walked over an hour to get to. And I had looked it up before we left and knew I wanted to visit. And we had a great time. We visited. This is Maria, the shop owner, and I got to talk to her, and she showed me some of her notebooks and artwork. And it was such a special time to connect with someone from around the world that had the same passions that you did about paper crafting. So I spent a good amount of money at Paper Nest, but that's okay because they were products that I just feel like I couldn't get other places. Again, some more tip-ins. I love how this journal ended up being so interactive. There's all kinds of places for you to explore and flip over and tags to pull out. And I feel like it causes you to explore with us, just like we did when we were in Rome and Florence. This is the Colosseum, our ticket to view the Colosseum. And this is the Forum, walking around. This is commemorating the spring weather. It was cool, but there were lots of flowers. I love the texture of some of the harsh, older, antiqued bricks with the beautiful flowers that were all around. It was really a beautiful time to visit Italy. Another postcard, taking in, this is a part of Rome, and this is from our evening stroll. This is the Trevi Fountain right here, and then the Spanish Steps. Again, a lot of tip-ins to tell parts of the stories. These don't necessarily have anything to do with the Spanish Steps, but they are cute and adorable, and I love them. Here's a pocket. This is about our Airbnb in Rome. This is the key that we had for our Airbnb. I love the antique look of the key, and I wanted to remember how fun that Airbnb was. The last museum we visited in Rome was the Borghese Museum, which was a really impactful place. I loved it. These are sculptures by Bernini, who's pictured right there. And again, this is a pamphlet that I just cut, actually tore this one, because I liked the title and I wanted to use it to be able to add more pictures. This is Caravaggio, and that was my husband's favorite painter that we saw when we were in Italy. This tip-in is covering up, this was our tour ticket, our little sticker that we had a guided tour through the Borghese. After we went to Rome for 4 days, we took a train to Florence. Here's our train ticket. It was a high-speed train. As you can see, I was a little less comfortable on the train than my husband was. It was just a little bit unsettling. The train station was this mass of people and all talking different languages, and it was a little overwhelming to me, but my husband did great navigating through it. And here is postcards from Florence. I used it to cover up some journaling. We were a little bit unsure when we first got to Florence. It was rainy, it was kind of overcrowded and really hard to get to our Airbnb. So this is kind of documenting we were kind of missing Rome when we got there. Here is from the Academy where the David is. I have this flip out right here. It hides 2 pictures plus has the ticket. The Bargello was another museum we visited right here. Again, this is a vellum piece layered with some stickers and washi. And I think using the same collection throughout the notebook gave it a nice cohesive feel. And it was easy to travel and do while traveling. All of these pages so far I did while we were in Italy. Again, this is more from the Bargello, talking about how we were just going to so many museums and taking in so much. All of these pictures are of sunsets in Florence, and that was one of my favorite parts of visiting that city, were the gorgeous sunsets that we found everywhere. I did take one watercolor set with me, and here I did a watercolor Set Your Soul on Fire, and then I journaled over the top of it. I love the effect that that has, and it was fun to work on. This was a fun adventure. We took a private class, just my husband and I, from an artisan on how to make Florentine marbled paper, and it was so cool, and I cannot wait to start gathering supplies to try to do it at home. It was a lot of fun. I made 6 papers and my husband made 6 papers, and I have them and I can't wait to work with them. Here's actually a business card from a taxi. We had a huge transportation mishap and ended up having to take a very expensive taxi ride to get to our marbled paper class. So I wanted to commemorate that little mishap of a morning. Again, just some more flip ups. They're fun. It's fun to play with. This is a receipt from the other things that I bought at the paper store where we took the class. Here's one of my favorite pages. This is cut out from a pamphlet for the Uffizi Museum, which is the largest art museum in Florence. And we spent a good chunk of a Saturday at that museum. We could have spent more time. Here's a ticket on the back of a bookmark. And again, it's just the interaction that is so fun to play with on this journal. And instead of writing just down the sides, I wrote in a big square around, and it was fun to write and do. And I love this picture. My husband and I was trying to take a picture of the skyline of Florence from the Uffizi, and my camera was turned on selfie mode and caught my husband and I looking like goofballs trying to take a picture. Again, some more artwork that I loved in the Uffizi, covered up by the tickets, which is a fun memory to have. This is a bookmark that I bought of a Botticelli painting. This is The Birth of Venus, and it's just a gorgeous painting, and I wanted to commemorate it without just having the picture. And here, this one page is not done. It's going to list my favorite art pieces that we saw in the Uffizi. Here's a couple more of them. The details in this book are what make me super happy. The flip overs, the little stickers, the layers that I was able to add with bookmarks. It was just so fun to create. And with just a few minutes in the evening, in the mornings over cappuccino, I would pull it out at lunch and do the journaling, and my husband would help me remember things, like how many steps it took to get to the top of this Duomo right here, 463. It was so fun to do on the go, and this will be something I do from now on. I think when we travel, even little trips with family, this made the trip, I don't know, it just stuck out more for me. It was fun to work on it instead of working on a project months and months later like I normally do. It was fun to be doing it in real time. Here's the church that we stayed near. If this is the church, our Airbnb would have been right over here, right on the square of the Santa Croce Church. And we took a tour of that church. Here are some of the tickets from the tour. And again, this is from a pamphlet that they gave us that I just cut out and added in my book with some layers, more sunshine, and hooray. We had the best weather while we were there. It was cool, but it was sunny and gorgeous spring. I added some little tags here, another spot for journaling that I can go back and add more if I'd like. These are from the inside of the church. And a nice layering up here. I love that you have to turn the journal for different parts to read. This is talking about missing my kiddos when we were on the trip, but how it was such a good time for my husband and I to reconnect. And again, another ticket from the Palazzo Vecchio, another museum that we've visited, and climbed the tower of that museum right there from the inside. And the fourth tower that we climbed, which was 414 steps. We did all 3 towers in one day, and it was crazy. My legs hurt a lot. I like that I was able to commemorate just things we saw. There is apparently a whole trend about taking bridal or wedding pictures by destination. Not a destination wedding, but just flying somewhere just for the picture. So we saw a lot of brides around the city that were not from Florence, just taking pictures. And it was fun to watch them and see how excited they were. Another page commemorating the sunsets. Again, that was my favorite part of Florence. It was beautiful. We would have a glass of wine and sit on the steps with a ton of other tourists in Michelangelo Square and just take in the gorgeous, gorgeous colors. This page is so fun. It is from a vineyard tour that we took with 2 other couples that we didn't know before we got there. And we went to 3 different vineyards in the Tuscan countryside, and it was so much fun. So I wanted a lot of room to journal, but I didn't want to take up a lot of pages in the notebook. I added all of these tip-ins to just jot down a few little stories about things that happened, and then was able to use a lot of the room on these pages for the journaling. The last church that we visited, actually no, this is not the last church. This is the one we went to after the vineyard tour. San Miniato was another great place to watch the sunset in Florence, and you had to climb a bunch of stairs to get there. But I was able to add, this is a picture of my husband and I on this beautiful tag, and this is just talking about how we treasured those moments together watching the sunset. And this page is just commemorating how amazing I felt when we were in Italy. It was really rejuvenating, refreshing to be away. It made me excited to come back, and I just said, remember how Italy made you feel. Here's some pictures from the leather school. This is from a pamphlet, this title from a pamphlet they handed us. Italy is famous for its leather, and I actually have a process video for these 2 pages, so I will link that below. Here's from the Galileo Museum, and again, I used the pamphlet to add some extra space. In this way, I was able to keep 2 weeks worth of travel all in one traveler's notebook. It is thick, but all of the memories are in this one place. It makes it easier to preserve them all in one place. Again, using the tickets. Here's the bust of Galileo on the back. This is my husband right here having gelato. We had a great time. We had gelato almost every day. A lot of times it was multiple times a day. And this is just talking about how it was awesome to reconnect together and have a great time, just the 2 of us. The story of this page is funny because originally it was just this right here commemorating our last sunset in Florence. And then I realized I forgot to put pictures of the Boboli Gardens, which is this beautiful place with all of these flowers, and we spent half a day there and I hadn't included any pictures. So to fix that, I added this flip out, and I was able to include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures of the Boboli Gardens with some little stickers and a few notes, and was able to fit it in all in a flip out, and it doesn't add a lot of bulk. And it was a reminder, be where your feet are, is referring to here. These are our feet right here on the steps. This is from our Airbnb, this purple David, and we saw them all over the city, and I'm seriously regretting not buying one because I thought they were so fun and so cute. And David was just a symbol of Florence, and it was so fun to find them all over the city. Actually, there's one real one in the Academy, and then there's replicas, 2 different replicas across the city. And our last church that we went to was the Museum di San Marco, which used to be a convent monastery and now is a museum and church. And this was fun. These were some supplies that they used for illuminated manuscripts, which to me felt like Bible journaling, which if you've seen my channel, you know I love Bible journaling. And so it was a nice kind of wrap up to the trip to see those right at the end. After we finished in Florence, we took a train ride back to Rome to get ready to leave the next day. This is our train ticket, and I just wrote a little note about how proud I was of us in the train station. It was our 3rd time in the train station, and we finally kind of had it under control. So wrote a little note about that. Our last meal in Florence was at Il Mercato Centrale, and that's like a big food court. I talk a lot about that in the food notebook in the back, but I just use this to commemorate. I love this quote, "So much of who we are is where we've been." Our last night in Italy, we spent near the airport in Rome, which happens to be near the beach. And so we got to walk on the beach, spend time together, and we took in our last sunset with a glass of wine on the balcony of our Airbnb. And again, this is the label from our wine. I loved including just little bits like that as memories. And here we are, tired on the plane ride back home. Here's my husband getting ready to leave, waiting for our Uber in Rome to take us to the airport. And I included, these are my airplane tickets for my last 2 flights from Rome to Charlotte and then from Charlotte to Washington. And over here, I did embossing because I wanted these to stand out. But it turns out these airplane tickets really react a lot to heat. So it turned black, which ended up being kind of cool because I feel like it really makes the letters stand out, which is fun. And then there's the back. As you can see, it was a great trip. I had so much fun documenting it, and I know I'm gonna be flipping through this traveler's notebook for years to come. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below if you've ever done a traveler's notebook like this. And if you liked it, like I said, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and keep it creative.